All right, so the unit circle. Well, first of all, we got a few notes we got to take from this. What we need to know about the unit circle is the word unit, which means one. Okay, so the radius of the entire circle is 1, which again is what unit means. Okay. Now, before I even do that, I'm going to start. We're going to label these degrees. Okay. And I'm going to tell you that every one of these marks is some variation of 30, 45, or 60. Okay? So, what do I mean by that? What do you think that first, well, actually, at the starting point, how many degrees is this if I don't go anywhere? 0 degrees. Okay? I'm going to actually write them on the inside. What do you think this first one is then? What have we been working with? 30. Is that easy? What do you think the middle one is?
60.
That's what this one is.
45.
And this one's 45. Now, this should be really easy. What's this one up top?
90.
90. What's this one right here?
180.
180. We've done these already. How about this one?
270.
270. And if I go the full circle, it gets me back to 360. Those should be the easy ones. Now, I want you to take a second. You might need a calculator for this. And just fill out the rest of these. Now, how can I do that? Well, if I go for this one, 90 plus 30, it gets me there. 90 plus 45, it gets me there. 90 plus 60, it gets me there. For this one, 180 plus 30 plus 45 plus 60. 270 plus 30 plus 45 plus 60 gets me there. Go through a minute and fill all those out, please. If you're confused, stop me as I'm walking around. I'll give you a hint. The next one is 120. Anybody confused?
Oh, so we have to. Oh.
Go ahead, keep working. You need to start copying down what I have. Add 30, add 45, add 60, add 30, add 45, that's 225 by the way, add 60, add 30, add 45, add 60. If you haven't got them already, please take a second, just copy that. Okay, so we're going to move on. I already said the radius is 1. So if the radius is 1, can you tell me, I didn't mean to put this here because I want to put something else here that's 0 degrees. The value of that point, the x and y value of that point. If the radius is 1, what's the x and y value of that point?
Would it be 0, 0?
Well, that's actually this point, right? But you're on the right track. So if the radius is 1, how far over am I going? 1, because the radius is 1. Radius just means from the center to the outside, right? So I'm going 1 out. Am I going anything up or down? No. So how do I write that point? 1, 0. That's it, right? So this is 1, 0. What's this point up here?
1, 1.
Close. Am I going over it all?
0, 1.
0, 1. What's this point over here?
Negative 1, 1.
Negative 1, 0, because I didn't go up or down, right? And then this last one? 0, negative 1. So there's those points. Those are the most significant points, at least for today's lesson. So make sure that we understand it just means I'm going over or up 1, right? And then in the other point, I'm not going over or up at all. So all points, here's the next part. All points, x, y, map onto cosine, theta, sine, theta. That doesn't necessarily make sense right now, but what I'm trying to say is the x value is the cosine value, the y value is the sine value. Yes, ma'am?
Well, I was going to say 2,
Okay. So again, the x value is the y, is this cosine, the y value is the sine. I'm going to prove that on the next page. Now, to fill in the rest of this, all 45 degrees, so in other words, just like we said yesterday, anything ending in 5. I mean, look at our unit circle here. We've got 45, 135, 225, and 315. All the rest end in zeros, right? We said yesterday, anything that ended in a 5 was a 45, 45, 90, right? Okay, so anything ending in 5 have coordinates plus or minus the square root of 2 over 2, plus or minus the square root of 2 over 2. And that just depends on the quadrant they're in. So for instance, let me just do this one here first. Matter of fact, let me do the easy one. Remember how yesterday I had you fill in where is it positive, positive, where is it positive, negative, where is it negative, positive, etc.? So the point in the first quadrant would be positive, positive. So it would be square root of 2, comma, square root of 2 over 2. What do you think it is here then? Again, it always has those numbers. Which one's negative, which one's positive, which one's... The x value or the y value, which one's negative? That's what I'm trying to get. The y value is negative because it went down, right? So this is just square root of 2 over 2, negative square root of 2 over 2. Nothing changes. So what am I going to do in this third quadrant? Both are negative. So negative square root of 2 over 2, negative square root of 2 over 2. And then at 135, x is negative. So negative square root of 2 over 2, comma, square root of 2 over 2. It's that simple. Okay? So we filled in those points. Now all the rest, so all 30/60s have cosine/sine value. Let's take a second to see that. Which is greater? Square root of 3 over 2 or 1/2? What do you think is bigger? The square root of 3 or 1? 1 is bigger than the square root of 3? What's the square root of 1? 1. What's the square root of 4? 2. So the square root of 3 is somewhere between 1 and 2, right? So that's greater, right? And so what I'm trying to accomplish here is I want you to realize that the square root of 3 over 2 is larger, let's put a little box around that, than 1/2. In fact, I can tell you what it is. It's 0.707, and that's greater than 0.5. Now, the reason I want that is because every one of the rest of these points has an x value and a y value. They're never going to be the same of either the square root of 3 over 2 or 1/2. If you think back to your homework from yesterday, a lot of answers were square root of 3 over 2, negative square root of 3 over 2, 1/2, negative 1/2. It's because of this. Okay? The first point, at 30 degrees, I don't want you to think of terms of the actual numbers yet. What I want you to tell me is, at 30 degrees, this point right here, is that further over or is that further up? Look at this point right here. Is it further over or is it further up? Over. You can see, right? Like this distance is longer than what this distance is. Can you see that?
Yeah.
So, over is the x value, right? Up and down is the y value, right? So the x value should be bigger than the y value. Does that at least make sense, first of all? The x value should be bigger than the y value, which means the x value is square root of 3 over 2, and the y value is 1/2. Every single value for the rest of this is either square root of 3 over 2 or 1/2. So let's look at 60 degrees. At 60 degrees, I put my dot right here. Is it further over or is it further up? It's further up, right? So the y value, the up value, should be larger. Can anybody tell me what I should write?
Square root of 3 over 2 negative.
Well, they're both in that first quadrant, so they're both going to be positive, right? Maybe you just need to see it first. Go ahead.
1/2 and then square root of
1/2 and then square root of 3 over 2. Again, every x and y value is either 1/2 or square root of 3 over 2. Now here's the thing. In the other quadrants, we're going to have some negatives and positives. But again, if it's further up, then the y value is bigger. If it's further over, then the x value is bigger. Let me go to 150 degrees. Is 150 degrees further over or further up? Over. So which value has to be bigger? Which way is over, x or y? X. So the bigger value, square root of 3 over 2, has to be in the x spot. Except I'm leaving out one thing. The negative. Which one's going to be negative, the x or the y? The x. Okay. So I've got that. Let's keep going. Let's do 120. What do you think? Is it further over or further up? Up. So which one's going to get the square root of 3 over 2? The x or the y? The y. Square root of 3 over 2, 1/2. And again, because I went left, the x value is negative. Okay. You fill in the rest. 4 more points. Determine if it's further over or if it's further up, and that will have that. Help that.
the 5. Yeah.
Could you look at
Yeah. I'll just text. Can I text you?
Yeah, do it. If it stays here, can you see what you said? See what you do.
Yeah.
Thanks. All right. So, that's all I'm taking. That's awesome. Let's check it out. Here's the rest of them. I'm going to fill them in if you're getting confused. Negative square root of 3 over 2, negative 1/2. This one is negative 1/2, negative square root of 3 over 2, because everything in that third quadrant is negative. This is over, it's actually further down, so square root of 3 over 2 is my x value, 1/2 is my y value, and it's further down, so negative there. Here I've got square root of 3 over 2 and 1/2, and again, the negative is on the y value. So we've got our entire unit circle. Okay. The only other thing we need to know here is about tangent. Tangent. And tangent is sine of theta over cosine of theta, which just means y over x. I'm going to move that up a little. Sine of theta over y over cosine of theta, which means take the y value divided by the x value. And now this is going to get substantially easier, because everything I just told you is more than you really need to know. You're going to hate me and love me at the same time, because you're going to say, why did we do all that? The reason is, we're introducing this to you. You're going to need to know this going forward. Okay? But, we're going to only take the easy points. Let's go to the next page. I'll show you what I'm talking about.
Oh.
Up at the top, without looking back, well, you don't have to look back. You can see the points already given to you. 1, 0, 0, 1, negative 1, 0, and 0, negative 1. And those are the only points we're going to worry about. Not all that other crap that we just got done doing. Okay? All right, so those are the 90. Let's maybe label this a minute. 180, 270, 360, and of course 0. Now what happens if I say 630? Where would 630 be? How could I figure that out? Well, I go a full 360, and then I go 90 to get me 450, another 90 to get me 540, another 90 to get me 630. So 630 would actually be at the same point as 270. We'll get to that. Don't let that freak you out. So the first thing I want to do is talk about, as we move through the unit circle, as I go counterclockwise or clockwise. Remember, counterclockwise means we're going that way, and clockwise means we're going that way. Okay. Now, as I move counterclockwise, in which two quadrants does the value of sine increase? Now, the value of sine, again, is the y values. Sine is y. So, think about this a second. If we look at the unit circle, sine is the y values. Where is sine increasing? Where are the y values increasing? Between which two quadrants? Maybe we should label our quadrants here. This is, if you don't remember, this is quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4. And this takes a little bit of thinking. In which two quadrants is the sine increasing, going from the lowest to the highest? Can you see where the y is increasing? What do you think, Jeff? 1 and 4. Why do you say that? You're right. Why is it 1 and 4?
Just going forward.
That's right. So as I go counterclockwise, so as I go this way, you see that negative 1? And then you see it go to 0? And then you see it go to 1? So as I'm going this way, the y value is getting bigger from quadrant 4 to quadrant 1. And so my answer here is A. Because again, if you need an explanation, because it goes from negative 1 to 0 to 1. Okay, we'll get that out of our head here a second. Let's go clockwise, which again clockwise is going around this way. In which two quadrants will the value of cosine, which again cosine is just the x values, in which two quadrants does cosine decreasing? Look at it a second, see if you can understand that. Try. In which two quadrants is the value of cosine decreasing? Anybody see it? What do you think? Value of cosine is the x values, right? Where is it decreasing? 1 and 2. Why do you say that? You're right. Why is it 1 and 2? Why is it 1 and 2? Because I see you have that too.
Because I went from 0 to -1.
Yes. Well, and specifically, it went from 1 to 0 to -1. So it's going down, right? It's decreasing, right? That's true. You're going to see a problem like this in a quiz. You're going to see 2 problems like this in a quiz. And there's my answer. Because it goes from 1 to 0 to -1. So it is steadily decreasing. Okay? All right. So that's kind of the thought process. The rest of this is not even going to be thought. Go ahead.
Aren't we going clockwise?
Oh.
Yeah, that's. Oh, right. Oops.
That's what I said.
I was trying to mess with you. Good call.
I was.
Right? If we're going counterclockwise, you guys would be right. Right? But we're going clockwise.
Oh my god.
Oh, wait a minute.
So is it 2, 3?
Is it 2, 3?
That's, yeah. Good job, John.
He's right, and I see other people thinking it too. So, Danielle, what'd you have for your answer then?
I said 2, 3 the first.
You said 2, 3?
The first time. That's what I said.
Now, here's the thing about 2, 3. That's the y value, right? The y value is decreasing in 2 and 3 because it's going from 1 to 0 to -1. But I gotta be looking at the x value, right? So it's 3 and 4 because I'm going from -1 to 0 to 1. So my x value is increasing as I go clockwise in quadrants 3 and 4. Does that make more sense? Good catch. I was just gonna let it go until somebody caught it. It is D. It is 3 and 4. And it's the same rationale because my cosine value, my x value, is going from 1 to 0 to -1. Okay? Now it's going to get way easier, I promise. Sine. Sine is what over what? Opposite over hypotenuse. So if I look at this triangle, and this is my angle here, the sine is what over what? Y over 1, which is just y. I already done told you that the sine is y. Right? What is cosine? Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, right? So, from here, what's my adjacent over hypotenuse from this picture? X over 1, which is just x. And I already done told you that too. Cosine is my x. Okay? What about tangent of A? Opposite over adjacent, so in the picture, it's y over x. And I did hint at that at the bottom of the previous page as well, is that tangent is just y over x. On the previous page, we said that all x and y are cosine and sine, so the cosine of theta is just the x value at that point. And the sine is just the y value at that point, and the tangent is just the sine over the cosine, which also means, again, the y over the x. Now you ready for the easy part? Oh my god, this is going to be so easy. You're going to get it wrong first. And then you're going to be like, wow, I was dumb. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. Let's try it. What is the sine of 0?
1, 0, 1.
Can anybody tell me the answer? Tell me why. What's the sine of 0? You're all so confused. Watch how easy this is. What is the sine value? Look up. No, look up. What is the sine value? It's the y, right? At 0 degrees, what's the y value? 0. That's the answer. 0. Let me do another one. Stay with me. The sine of 0 is the y value at 0 degrees. What's the cosine of 0?
0.
Look at your graph. What's the cosine of 0?
1.
Why is it 1?
Because it's the x value.
Because it's just the x value at 0. Look, at 0 degrees, the x value is 1. The x value is the cosine. The y value is the sine.
Okay.
Hold on, stay with me. What's the cosine of 270 degrees?
0.
Why?
Because it's the x.
Because it's the x value at 270. It's that simple. Let's do number 3 though. Tangent is y over x. You want to write that. Tangent is y over x. What's the y value at 180? 0. What's the x value at 180?
Negative one.
-1. What's 0 divided by anything?
0.
0. So guess what? Every answer on here is either 1, 0, -1, or undefined. When would it be undefined? Look at the tangent in number 3. If it's 0 divided by anything, it's 0. But if I have anything divided by 0, that's undefined. You guys try and fill out the rest of this. And trust yourself. Again, cosine is just the x value, sine is just the y value, and tangent is just the y divided by the x. Try it. It's as easy as it looks, I promise. Use your chart up above. Uh-oh, we're getting into some big numbers. Want to hear the easy way to do it?
Yes.
Subtract 360. If your number is bigger than 360, subtract 360, and that's the reference angle you can go to. 0, 8, 1. So really, this is like cosine of 180. It's the same exact thing. Kind of giving you some hints there if you're stuck. Yeah, I see most people have some answers down, so let's take a look. Tangent of -90. I'm going to zoom this out just a little so I can see my chart while I do it. -90, remember, is clockwise right here. And tangent would be the y over the x, so -1 over 0. And if 0 is on bottom, it's undefined. You can do that little symbol, or you can really write out undefined, the same thing. Sine of 360. Go all the way around to 360. The sine is the what value? Y, so the answer is just 0. Sine of -270, so I got to go 90, 180, 270, and it's sine, so the y value, so it's just 1. Number 7, again, if I subtract 360, I get 180. The x value at 180 is -1. And tangent of 450 means, if I subtract 360 from it, I get 90. And at 90 degrees, the y value over the x value is 1 over 0, and I can't do that, it's undefined. And that's it. That's what the majority of your homework is. Go ahead and flip to the next page and see. 1 page of homework. Let's do this up above because I want to. Let's fill in these points. What is this point again? 1, 0. What's this point? 0, 1. -1, 0, 0, -1. And remember that x is what?
Sine.
No,
Cos.
cosine. And y is sine. If you forget what goes with what, it's alphabetical. X comes before y, c comes before s. X is with cosine, sine is with y. Okay? Now from there, you're just going to do the rest of your homework. The first 21 problems should take you 5 minutes, 10 minutes tops. The next 4, you have to do a little thinking, maybe another 5 minutes. You've got 10 minutes left in class, you can for sure get through 21 if you really get to work.